Oh, I just asked for the link. Go ahead. I guess what we want to do is figure out where this goes to convincing people that a god or a goddess exists.
Okay. So I'm gonna give three options, and you might end up adding more because of the false dichotomy logic and so on, but whatever. So the first is everything came into existence by itself anyway, without the help of God, right? That's one option. Or the second option is everything in the universe has always existed for all of eternity, which is also scientifically impossible because of the no.
It's not scientifically impossible. In fact, all of the current consensus models in physics are that nature has been there for all of eternity. So like string theory, many worlds, multiverse, they all say that nature's always been there. So it's not scientifically impossible that nature's always been there.
Okay. At least in the last few years, that's the consensus, right?
Consensus is like nature's always been there.
Yeah. Well, that's not what I learned in private school and whatever. But anyways,
if you want, I can send you a poll of all of the physicists. There's a poll called the Fundamental Snapshot of Attitudes in Physics that show the most accepted views of the origin of the universe. I've got the poll if you want that too.
Is that from which country?
All of them. It's just a poll of physicists from around the world.
Okay, so my teachers probably never participated in that poll, but they were always they always believe the universe hasn't always existed for all of eternity. But anyways, so there's also the last option, or if you want to add more options, there must be a God or something greater than science, greater than what you spoke, who created the laws of science and has the ability to simply ignore them. That belief.
Is that different? What was your first option? So that sounds like the same as the first one.
No, the first one, everything came into existence by itself without the help of God.
Okay, gotcha.
So the third one is there must be a God, a greater being, who created the laws of science and has the ability to break them, to disobey them. Not only that belief is the only logical conclusion to a, let's say, a logical draw towards our debate, but it's according to some, for example, my physics teachers, scientifically possible, because if there is no God, the first two options that I said are impossible because of the laws of physics. But the last part can be ignored.
At least in my opinion, the God that you're posing seems metaphysically impossible, and I could be wrong there.
Well, let's say not thinking of any religion. Let's think of a God, not a judgmental or a good God or the Bible God or the Quran God, just a God, a greater being.
I think he means any kind of a God, any kind of a mind outside
any
of
kind.
physics.
I'm not saying religious.
Taco is saying you can't have a mind outside of physics.
Where did he say that?
That it's metaphysically impossible for a God. So what he means is it's impossible to have like a mind outside of space-time or whatever.
And how can that be proven?
Well, you just willy-nilly threw out the other options, like it always existing, and you're claiming a mind that doesn't require anything to exist outside of everything. Kind of a strange thing to say that's possible.
It is possible.
at least to me, it appears metaphysically impossible.
Well,
Can you show how it's not vicious? How does it not only reference itself?
it's not referencing itself. It just means that God is above science, and because He created it. Isn't that an argument? Is there any proof that God didn't create science?
I might be overstepping. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I understand.
I do have a question about that. What do you mean by metaphysically impossible? Because metaphysics is the study of what is like the fundamental nature of reality. You seem to be bringing up an
Speculation
circularity
about natural reality that goes beyond what scientific investigation can currently confirm. Extrapolating out from the natural and looking at space time, looking back to like Planck time, and then thinking before that is what he's doing. And so I'm saying that appears to not be a possibility.
So yeah, it seems like you're saying it's epistemically circular. So epistemically, you're trying to use the universe to try and get information from before the universe or something. But that's different from like metaphysically circular. Metaphysical circle doesn't quite make sense because it's like saying an ontological circle. There's no such thing as an ontological circle. Circular reasoning is purely epistemic. So you can say epistemically, there's no way to know about such a being or something along those lines. But I don't think it would be. I don't think metaphysically circle is the correct term there.
I might be incorrect.
Okay.
Coffee. I'll be back in a minute.
All right. I'm also drinking coffee, anyways. Who is still here, Mr. IX?
Oh, we're all here. I'm Randall.
Okay,
we're all here.
So in my profile says I'm Christian, because I believe that's the most morally correct religion. That's why I'm a Christian. But I also believe that, well, because of this religion, that God is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. That I also believe God is timeless. He's been watching everything, of course, and all of the time.
So by timeless, I think what you're meaning is omni-chronological rather than timeless.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't know a word for that.
It's not a commonly used word. That's okay.
No. Okay. Especially if my language is in English, the first language. So
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Okay, thanks. So I believe God, in a way, is not a just being. Of course, innocent people die all the time. That's not an argument against God. It just means that people have to die. If the world was a perfect place, that would make us believe in God. Everybody believe in God, of course. But the world.
You mentioned earlier that you believe in the Christian God because you think that he is the most moral. And
I believe Christian
religion. Okay, and the religion talks about God killing people and then flooding the world. Killing people by flooding the world, and I don't consider that to be a moral act because a lot of
me neither.
Okay, so I don't consider Christianity to be particularly moral. Right off the bat, from this standpoint, there's many other reasons too, but I think this one reason should be sufficient for our conversation. And this makes it really hard for you to take it as a reasonable approach to justifying believing in the God.
Right. That makes sense, what you said. A lot of innocent people, let's say, died in that flood, and that's not very moral for God to do. But I also believe that the Christian God, and that's completely disconnected from theology, from the Christian standpoint. That's my own belief. That God, let's say, God gets bored sometimes, and he wants to have something to be entertained. So he does some catastrophes. That might sound a bit stupid.
Oh, it's Zanotti. So
this character trait that you're describing here is actually a really atrocious character trait. You're saying, like, if this god is supposed to be just and moral, and then wants to create catastrophes and actually harm and kill people, that's murder, because he's bored. Then that shows a lack of character on his part, because if he truly is good, it won't matter how bored he is. He will continue to be moral and ethical and not do this.
That's why he's not truly good.
So he's not omnibenevolent.
No, he's not omnibenevolent. No, of course not.
Okay.
Okay,
that's my own view.
Despite this kind of goes to the question that I was going to ask you. When you're talking about the Christian God, and you gave it these particular attributes, how did you come to conclude that God possesses these attributes?
The attributes of immorality?
No, of God. Like, how did you come to conclude them? Did you get it from reading the Bible?
No, I concluded. I did all of the. Well, I don't know the words in English, but after you get baptized, you learn a lot from going to the church, let's say courses, and then the last thing you do, you take the bread of God. Do you know what that is?
Yes, I was born and raised as a Methodist.
Okay, so I'm Catholic, so that's the way. But I have little is not the right word, but I don't have enough knowledge of God to say that he is this or he is not this. But I have my own thinking, my own head, and I can watch the world. I can see what is happening, and I can understand how things are happening. And as a collective, it makes no sense for God to punish, let's say, an innocent person for the bad deeds of a good person. So
do you think you would come to the same conclusions about what you observe in the world if you were not a Catholic?
Perhaps I would, but I believe Catholic is the prettiest religion.
Well, it's not by far not the oldest. I mean, even Catholicism derives from other belief systems. So, but my curiosity is if you were not a Catholic, if you were, say, a Hindu, or if you were, I don't know, heck, maybe just whatever faith you want to throw out there. Do you think the conclusions that you've drawn about God, that God is omniscient, God is omnipresent, that God is immoral, do you think that you would derive these same conclusions if you were any other faith?
I don't believe I would, especially because your thoughts they come from your psychology and your psyche.
So how is this not confirmation bias? That the world is a way, you were born, you were instructed that the way the world is because of these reasons, or you instructed that God is this way, you observe the world and you draw conclusions about God.
Yes, so let's say I have my own God, but the religion that I follow, I believe it's the one that carries the most beauty.
So subjective. It's completely subjective to you.
Yes.
Okay.
You can also believe in your own God, depending on what you do with your life.
So I just wanted to get the point that it's completely subjective conclusion that you basically come down to. You essentially you were raised in a faith, you were taught that this thing exists, and then you observe the world and you've drawn conclusions about the nature of this thing based upon what you observe. But you're assuming you're making the assumption that this thing does exist and that you were taught correctly, and that these particular attributes are something that it actually possesses. So I was trying to understand, like, how did you determine these? Like, so basically you were taught this by other people. And so the attributes of God are derived essentially from the Bible, or essentially from the holy text. And then you want to go to Judaism, so on and so forth. But ostensibly, the holy text, like the Bible, if you want to go for Christianity, the Bible is God speaking to man through man. Divinely inspired word, human beings wrote the Bible down, and supposedly that's essentially God talking to us through divine inspiration. The attributes that we derive about God from the Bible are essentially God describing himself to us. Okay, so like God is saying, I have these attributes, I divinely inspire you to write them down so other people will know my attributes. So it's God like telling us things about itself. And if, let's just go ahead and assume that the thing does exist. We have to assume another assumption, not only that it exists, but also that the initially divinely inspired word was the absolute truth. Which is another assumption to be made. It's like, how do we know that this thing was telling us the truth in the beginning?
Exactly. I was going to say that.
So there's a lot of assumptions being made as to why. So, but you came down to it. You pretty much put the nail in it. It was like, this is completely subjective to you. You hold it for whatever personal reasons you have, but those reasons are not. We can't really say those reasons are based on sufficient evidence. That it's evidence that's good enough for you. My question would be: is that if you were presented further evidence that would be contrary to this, would you be willing to change your position?
You can try to present me other evidence.
I'm just saying, would you be amenable to that? Is that something, or do you just steadfastly hold it regardless of what is thrown at you? I'm going to the level of your intellectual honesty here.
Well, if the evidence is good enough, you can try.
This sounds like a topic for another show.
Yeah.
Perhaps Zanatti would like to get onto J.L. Warren's show to a live stream someday to talk about this.
Yes. When would that be?
I would suggest contact him off the voice chat here. We should probably off stage because we should get on to other people. Thank you for coming on, Zanatti. Really appreciate it. Is there some last thing you'd like to say? Parting words?
Well, I would like to say that God is God likes killing.
I've noticed that he seems to like killing according to the Bible. Is that
yes,
okay.
God likes killing.
Fair.
That's it. Goodbye.
Appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much.
And I hate the Antichrist.
Thank you.
That was a phenomenal exit.
Hold on, Bang.
Hello, Bang.
Hold on, Bang.
Welcome.
Hey, so
What you got for
Convince
us?
us of something?
yeah, I want to talk about because I don't want to talk about how actually convince you guys or live up to what you expect, or I don't even know what you expect, but I think it would be more productive to talk about why people believe what they believe and the reasons they hold to, right? And then you can contemplate on them yourself, right, later or whatever. Right? I think
How
that would be,
about you give us a list of maybe the top 3 reasons that you think would be good ones to discuss here?
okay.
Give it the Zoom chat,
Well,
Frank. Appreciate it.
because I hope you guys understand a belief or a worldview is not going to be based on just one evidence or one fact, right? It's going to be cumulative, right? It's a cumulative case about certain things that make it reasonable to hold a conclusion, right? So the reason why I'm a Muslim, right, and which ultimately leads to God, is that out of every religion or worldview or theory, right, none of these that I came across hold the same level of coherency, explanatory power, and evidentiary basis as Islam does, right? Historically, theologically, philosophically, right? And I can just read this little thing that I put on my text, mixed up, why I believe in Islam, right? Which is gonna be ultimately the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? His biography alone is enough evidence for me. He was an illiterate, uneducated man who was already known among his people as a truthful, trustworthy person who brought revelation, right, or so-called revelation that contains supreme guidance, right, for the people, right, that deals with all the aspects of their life, whether it's societally or individually, right? That
Hey,
established.
real quick, just a quick question. Can you give me an extra Islamic citation about Muhammad being illiterate?
What do you mean Islamic, extra Islamic? I have
outside of
I can
Islam.
give you. It's not about Islam. It's about history. It's just history.
No, that's what I'm talking
It's
about.
not.
Because
It's not revelation.
if we only have one indicator, but bang, if we only have one indicator from one particular group about one particular thing, and there's nothing extra out of it that can confirm that thing, why should I believe that thing to be true?
Because it's historically confirmed through independent. Hold on, just let me finish. It's historically confirmed through mass independent first-hand accounts.
But it's not, because there are no living first-hand accounts of him being illiterate. We only have the story that he was illiterate.
There is so what, bro? There is so many. Is
there anybody alive who knew Muhammad today?
Alive, right? Well, what? No, we do have a historical chain that goes back to these people.
But it's not extra Islam. It's all contained within Islam.
No, it's not about it's not revelation. It's just history, right?
Okay, so I'm asking you,
conveyed history.
An extra Islamic confirmation of this.
That's not just, but it's not going to be Islamic though. Like the historical basis I'm telling you is not Islamic.
Hey, Bang. Just so you know, the word extra Islamic means not Islamic.
Yeah.
So, like, for example,
can you define Islamic? I don't know. I don't even know what you mean by that.
Okay, so that's what Randolph just did. So it means outside of Islam. So, in other words, is there anything from this? Let's say, because you'll remember, Islam was not practiced in every single culture. Okay, but if for a good example with this would be the Hittites, the historical Hittites, and the historical Egyptians. These two cultures separated or did not believe in the same things, and they were divided by a good distance of land. So they had their own cultural identities. But we can confirm things about the Egyptians in the Hittite culture due to diplomatic correspondence between the two nations. Okay, between the two civilizations, and we can confirm things about the Hittites by looking at things in Egypt. In the Egyptian culture, so because they corresponded between the two, sort of things that we can confirm, things that confirm Hittite that were discovered in Egypt. That is called extra. That would be extra Hittite, all right? Extra Hattusin is technically what that would be. So, what extra Islamic citation do you have to confirm that Muhammad was illiterate? Is there anything in the Greeks and the Egyptians and the Assyrians and in the anywhere else that says that he was illiterate?
Do you think Islam? Do you think history is Islamic or something? Like I don't get it, bro.
No. I'm actually coming out of this.
We take those historical narrations not because they're Islamic.
Stop.
You're strong.
What I'm not. What I'm pointing out. Bang, what I'm pointing out is that you are taking things to be true when they're only coming from one source.
They're not
okay? So when I'm talking about
independent sources, they're mass.
So I'm asking you for extra Islamic sources.
That's not Islamic, dude. That's just.
Can you pull something from the Greek? Can you pull something from the Assyrians who lived very close to the
you know how history works?
Yes, I do know how history works.
That's not how it works. Like telling me to give you a Greek or a Egyptian source when the Prophet lived in Arabia. That doesn't make any sense for someone.
Because I can confirm things about the Egyptians by studying what the Greeks knew about Egypt, and I can confirm things in Egypt by what they knew.
Yeah, but the Prophet didn't leave Arabia. He didn't travel to Egypt.
How do you know that?
Well, I know that because of the mass independent first-hand witness accounts.
But there are no first-hand witness accounts.
They are. You're
no,
wrong.
there aren't. They're all dead. How can we confirm them that they knew it and that they were there if they're all dead and we can't talk to them?
We have a chain that leads back to them.
Then let me ask you this, Bang. Let me ask you this.
Isn't that the opposite? Not the opposite of a first-hand account. If we have a chain, that's not a first-hand account. That's literally like second, third-hand accounts, isn't it?
Yeah, Tjump has a point there, Bang. Let me ask you this real quick. If you take information, okay, and your culture is derived around protecting that information and keeping it alive, and that anybody who disagrees with it or challenges it or tries to change it winds up getting ostracized or killed, as the Islamic faith has done to keep everything in line. with this kind of iron-booted mentality that this is the way it is and it cannot change.
That's not necessarily the case.
That is necessarily the case. That is the case. That's why it hasn't changed. So
you don't know
if
what
the
happened.
culture of the
then you agree it hasn't changed then.
Bang.
Okay.
If the culture
So can we move on?
If the culture is it literally centers around maintaining the structure of the story, does that mean the story is true?
Can you repeat the question?
If the culture itself is focused predominantly on maintaining the story, does that mean the story is true?
Depends on the methodology they use.
No, it doesn't. I'm simply
yes,
asking you a yes or no question.
No, yes, it
Can
does.
you derive the truth of the Can you derive the truth of a story if one singular culture has dedicated itself to maintaining the structure of that story and ensuring that it doesn't change?
Yeah, again, it depends on the methodology. If you can actually look at the methodology they use to distinguish truth from false accounts, right? Then we can assess those methodologies and therefore derive reliable and unreliable testimonies from them, which is what the Arabs.
But you don't know that those testimonies are reliable because those people are no longer alive to talk to.
No, we do know that every single person who narrated of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ at first-hand accounts met someone else that they met, and they met someone else that they met.
That's not a first-hand account.
So that's
a second-hand account.
That's not a second.
No, bang. That's the chain. If Muhammad did something and someone was there to witness him doing something, that person recounts that story, that's a first-hand account. But the person he gives it to, that person then goes and tells a third person, that is a second-hand account. And then a third-hand account, fourth-hand account, fifth-hand account, over 1,000 years. Do you honestly expect anyone here to believe that the story has not changed somewhat?
We can confirm that this first-hand account did witness it. Right? We can.
No, we can't. How are you confirming this? By what methodology did you confirm this?
By the science of hadith. You look it up, right?
Okay,
it's very easy to argue against a concept you know nothing about. No. So, like, rather than just trying to be argumentative, right? You can let this
I'm not being argumentative, Bang.
I am
directly addressing your Bang. I am directly addressing your epistemology.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. I'm saying, how are you coming to a conclusion to know that something is true? And you were saying that you have these pieces, and I'm saying those pieces don't exist because they don't. First-hand accounts do not exist anymore.
They do. Because
you don't understand what a first-hand account is as opposed to a second-hand account as opposed to a third-hand account.
If we can trace them back according to methodology, and we can know that all the people within this chain of narration, whether they actually met that person or not, right? And we can then trace it back, right? Through the methodology itself, we can know that if that person lived in the same location or existed in the same location at that same time, if he met that person, if he spoke to him, if he spoke to other people that met that same person, right? All these different factors give us clear evidence of historical reliability of these
narrations. But it doesn't. Right? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. No, it does not speak to the truth of what was said.
JL, maybe it's a language barrier thing here. So let me try and help. Bang, can you talk to anyone who's spoken to the Prophet Muhammad today?
Can I name today? No, that doesn't make any sense.
I'm going to just quickly read something.
And that is what JL meant with a first-hand account. You have no one who can talk to Muhammad today. That would be the first-hand account. If you would be able to talk to someone who talked to Muhammad, that would be a second-hand account.
That's not how history
works. You understand?
Okay.
That is always true.
I understand. Right?
Always true.
If you have person A and then person B and person C, right? Person A, right, is actually the first-hand account. He sees something and he narrates it to person B. Right? Person B would be the second-hand account, right? But if we can trace all those, okay, would you agree that that person B would be a first-hand account of person A?
Yes,
sort of.
What JL is trying to explain. Hold on. Yes, I already said yes. What JL is trying to explain. Maybe you've heard of it. Are you aware of the game telephone or Chinese
Yeah,
whispers.
yeah, I know. I know that it doesn't even like it's not analogous to hadith, which is
Oh.
the narrations.
It is analogous. It is analogous to people. Hold on. It is analogous to people giving other people
Whispering.
a story. The story over time. Hold on. The story over time will have slight changes when it goes from person to person. That is the point that JL tried to point out, and that is the point that you seemingly didn't get. Maybe that helped. I'll leave it to JL.
Okay. Now let me give you like a thought experiment, or like an example, right? Let's just say that you know, right, that someone, like, you have a friend, right? You know his character, you know how he doesn't like lie, and you know all the characteristics about him enough to know that he told the truth, right? And you know that he went around investigating this sort of claim, right? And then he comes up and tells you, right, that I've met this person and I know this person, I can vouch for this person, I can clarify, I can verify that this person I've spoke to did speak to somebody, right? And then you're like, okay, well, let me clarify that. And then you skip your friend and you go to the person that your friend spoke to, right? And then you confirm, well, okay, did your friend speak to him? And if yeah, well, then you ask him, who did you talk to, right? And then this person tells you, well, I spoke to that person, and you're like, okay, let me confirm that. And you basically look through the chain, right? If there's any disconnects,
I get
or
your
if there's
point.
or
I get your
if
point.
there's any lies in the chain of narration, right? So then
I get your point.
if hold on, if we
hold
can
on.
if
I
we can
get your
trace
point.
everybody, right? If you can trace everybody through this
We can
historical
trace
chain,
everybody.
No.
to
Hang on a
all
second.
the way
Okay,
to the
hang on.
first
Hang on,
person,
Peter.
I get your
Peter,
point.
Bang. No,
that will
Peter,
be
Bang. Hang on a
the
second. Hang on a
first
second.
hand
No.
account.
Bang just brought up a serious brought up a point here, which he's glossing over something that's really, really important. Yes,
He's
you could
leaving
learn something from
really
Bang. You could learn
important
something.
out.
Hang on, Peter. You could learn something from your imam. Your imam can give information to you. Then that imam can tell you that he got that information from somebody else. Then you can go. But how far back does that chain actually go? Okay.
There's one thing you left out.
Considering the number of people,
there's one thing.
Well, hang on. Considering the number of people alive that you could go and talk to, that you could get confirmation that the one person told them the exact same story, and you can go back and you can confirm the game. You basically go back and talk to the previous speaker so you can confirm the message in the game of telephone. So, but how far back can you go? Now, go from the last person alive all the way to the beginning of Islam. The very foundational. Can you tell me? No, Bang. No, hang on. By what methodology, Bang, did you determine that no one within that chain, from the last person who is alive to Muhammad, changed something in the story, got something wrong, misheard something, wrote something down incorrectly, or straight up made up the fact that Muhammad was illiterate in order to make it seem more miraculous? How did you eliminate those possibilities?
That was the point. That was the point that I was trying to press. You can go with people's honesty and sincerity. I'll give you that. We can apply that to everyone in the chain.
Not just that, right? There's different factors.
Please let me finish. We can give that to everyone in the chain. Honesty and sincerity. The fact that they can get something wrong applies to every single one in that chain. That doesn't mean that there is intent to write it down wrong. The people make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. And I will even grant you that Muhammad did not make a mistake. Everyone who came after him was human, made mistakes. How did you rule that out?
If you were to know 10 people, right, but you know that these 10 people don't know each other, right? They come from different regions, so they come from different backgrounds, right? These people do not know each other, but you know each of these persons. And these 10 persons all come up to you at different times, and they tell you person A said A, B, C, D, right? In the exact same order and everything. There's not even a difference in vowels or anything, right? What's the chance that those all 10 people somehow made up a lie or came up together to conspire against you, right? What's the chance?
I'll give you a response.
Reasonable
I'll give you
to
a
actually
response
believe
to
that
that.
claim?
I'll give you a response to that. And this is from personal experience. We had a group of friends who did things when we were in school. That was 40 years ago. Every single one of us remembers it differently. The reason why they do is because that is how your memory works. If you know something, if I tell you something, I'm talking to you right now. If you remember this conversation tomorrow, you will remember this conversation. If you will remember the conversation next week, you will remember the moment you remembered it tomorrow. You will never be able to go back to the original conversation. That is how your mind works.
So you're agreeing with the fact that
making a mistake, making a mistake is very easy because your mind, your brain is imperfect when it comes to memory.
This is the point. None of these 10 people, like all of these 10 people, have an identical account of what happened, right? Which is going to be a form of a like a statement, right?
Okay,
like
what's your evidence for that?
What is your
evidence for that?
No, hang on a sec, Peter.
The evidence is, hold on, dude. Let me answer him. Okay. The evidence is the independent chains of narration, right? That don't have anything to do with each other.
That doesn't confirm the truth of the story, Bang.
It does.
No. It confirms that they all. No, Bang. All that confirms, if 10 people come up to me individually at different times and all recount that they heard from one person this same story, and they all get it exactly alike. There is no deviation between the two. This does not confirm the truth of the story. This only confirms that they all were there to hear the story, or they all got the story from one person and they all recounted it to me in exactly the same detail, which is a thing that can occur. Because that person may have recounted it. That initial person may have told them a story. They wrote it down. They memorized it, and then they brought it to me. That's a thing that occurs. But that doesn't eliminate the possibility that the person, the initial speaker, wasn't making shit up.
Yeah. Okay. That's okay. Good. We agree, right? We agreed that those 10 people actually were truthful about the person saying something, right? But whether that person made up something or not, this is irrelevant, right?
No, it's not irrelevant because you're saying these things as though they're true, and I'm telling you can't back that up.
Let me finish, right? If all those 10 people say that this person said some sort of claim, right? And like this claim goes around some time without it being confirmed or like disproven, right? Because it's a very extraordinary claim that we couldn't know of, right? And it's very specific and detailed, right? And then like 200 years later or 1,000 years later, we're finally able to confirm such a claim because back then there was no tool to know of such a claim to be true or not. But now we somehow know of that, right? Now this would be part of the statements that we consider to be prophecies or historical knowledge or scientific knowledge that was not known at that time, right?
I've got one quick thing to say here because I think we need to wrap up soon and move on to our next people in the audience. But
I think that's good for a short time. I'm glad to leave if you want me to.
I want to find out quickly what your thoughts are on it, but I posted something in the chat there. It's on the side. You can see a picture showing up. It's a document titled "Muhammad was not illiterate." It says, I'll just read the first part of the paragraph. It says, one of the fabrications against the prophet that was created by the corrupt Muslim ulama was that he was not illiterate.
What is ulama did?
I don't know. I'm hoping you knew.
You don't know. Like you take the blog post to be some sort of like. Actual,
what I'm telling you is
this is a joke, man.
Okay, what I'm trying to point out is there are perspectives out there that are that people are. We're not the only ones who are thinking this. So they seem to be making quite a case for it. It might be an interesting document to read, and you could bring it up later if you wanted at another.
They just have
Arabic words. There is good reason to believe that Muhammad. There is good reason to believe that Muhammad was not illiterate because Muhammad was a merchant. At that time, a merchant had to be able to read in order to conduct his business. So there is very, very strong evidence that Muhammad was not illiterate. The fact that he may not have been able to write everything in the Quran is correct. but he could not have been illiterate because he could not
well,
have
that's
worked in
because
his
Interesting.
profession without being
Apparently,
able to
according
read.
to Zexus in the chat, ulama means interpreters.
One sec. Bang,
no,
I
that's
got
not what it means. Oh
Bang.
my god, dude! Like, why you guys take like this knowledge from like Discord, or, like blog posts? Like, guys, like at least be charitable to be like, okay, whatever you're saying, we might look into it. We're not just gonna be argumentative for the sake of being like just denying what you're saying, right?
I brought
Like
it up.
there is an entire science of hadith, which like the word hadith
I-
just means the sayings, the narrations of the sayings and the deeds of or the actions of the Prophet Muhammad, right?
I brought it up.
It's a 1400 years science that deals with analyzing the historicity and the reliability of those claims.
And it's a science, I might remind you, that claims that fresh water and salt water don't mix, which is not true. But I brought this article up.
That's not what it says.
Just to
No.
demonstrate-
Wait,
just to
you
demonstrate,
just
I brought
made a
this
lie, dude.
article up.
That's not what it says.
Excuse me, Vang. I'm trying to respond to you. I brought this article up to demonstrate that we're not the only ones who have this perception of the illiterate thing being questionable.
Okay, so
T-Jump, what is your question?
okay,
No,
so-
bang.
I had two
he made a
recent
point,
questions.
so I can't really
Bang.
respond.
T-Jump, what's your question?
It's ridiculous, dude.
But my question was, is like, even if we grant that like 10 people have the exact same story that something happened, like that happens to me all the time with Jehovah's Witnesses. I get John 3:16 repeated verbatim over and over again.
Yeah, but
Also,
those
people
don't have
read
any
Harry
first-hand
Potter
accounts.
all the time. But so just the fact that they recite some statement doesn't mean that it was like a statement of magic or anything. So the fact that it was a statement isn't evidence of anything. Also, what is your picture from?
Jojo.
Jojo's Bizarre Adventures, is that it?
Yeah.
I like the picture.
Okay. Look, man. Okay. So you guys made so many points at one time. So okay. So Randolph, what you said about like what the Quran claims that salt water and clear water don't mix is not. That's not what the Quran claims. Right? The Quran makes a clear statement specific about the sea itself. Right? The sea, where the sea meets the two seas meet, but they don't mix. Right? And it's true that those two seas don't mix. Right? It doesn't say like water itself doesn't mix, right? Like salt and pure water. Now the second thing, which you said, can you repeat that, please? Like you made a second point.
The second point. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a bit of a blank because a lot has gone on here.
Okay, sorry, I remember. Like the blog post you sent, right? Like I'm reading through it, and I have a general idea of what he's talking about. It's basically trying to quote these verses from the Quran and like giving these like obscure understandings of some words, right? To speculate that the Prophet actually could, read or write, because there's some verses that command to read or like to write, right? Well, like so it says that too. But like the Quran itself, right? The Quran itself says explicitly that the Prophet was illiterate. So like if this blog wants to use the Quran in some sort of way to show that, like use some speculative, vague words, right, or definitions to show a case, but like there's already clear, explicit verses that show otherwise, right? So I'm already discarding the blog post, right? So the point is what I'm trying to say originally. If it's true that we can trace back a person's sayings to be true, right? Like that person actually said something, right? Historically, then we can then look at what they claim itself and ignore the historicity, because we would already confirm the historicity of such claims. Now
You
the
just can't
reason
confirm the truth of what they said.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have by investigating into the claims themselves, right? Which took me quite a while. I'm not gonna be like sitting here pretending that I can be convinced in like 5 minutes, right? Changing my whole view in 5 minutes, right? This takes actual investigation, and studying, and contemplation, right? But like the
And
point
faith,
is,
right?
no, okay, and so
No faith at all.
no faith. Okay, so
Do what? Wait, what?
yeah, no faith.
No
Okay,
faith at all.
Yeah, no faith.
You'd be the first Muslim I've heard to say that.
I mean, if faith, but if by faith you mean like blind, like faith, like just following because I feel, gullible. No, then that's not the case. Right?
No, that's not what I'm
Actually,
saying. It's just belief without evidence.
Yeah, I don't hold that. I don't hold to that at all. I don't think
You hold the position that Muhammad did not make all this shit up on the fly. You hold it on faith.
Yeah, no, it's not on faith.
That is on faith, because you can't confirm that Muhammad didn't just make it all up on the fly.
Well, I can, based on the claims.
No, you can't, because the claim is that he didn't make it up on the fly.
No, that's not the claim. I don't believe it based on these claims. I believe it based on the evidence that come around the claim that would confirm the proposition. So let's just say, for example, we have like a someone making the claim that Alex ate the apple, right? So the claim is being made. You don't know whether that's true or not. You're not going to believe it just because it's been said so, right? So you look around, investigate what would be the case that helps, like makes the proposition reasonable. Well, you look at the apple, you see a bite on the apple. Alex is the only one around the apple. Alex loves apples. Alex has some sort of like apples around his mouth, like apple clumps around his mouth, right? All these different evidence or facts make it more plausible that Alex did indeed eat the apple, right?
Hey, Bang. I know that I'm wondering if you'd like to have RNG Base join us here. I know he's been communicating with you in private messages.
I don't know. He's not really. He's sent me 2 messages, and like one is like a server invite, and the other is like a picture.
Oh, okay. Then I gathered incorrectly from the chat, but we're thinking of moving on next.
I think that this essentially boils down. There is no way to independently confirm or confirm in any way that Muhammad didn't just make it all up on the fly. There is not enough data points.
Do you know what the prophet said though? Like, because that's not the point I'm trying. I'm just trying to like give you like the general case, the general like sort of facts around the prophet's prophethood, right? Why I believe he's a prophet, right? So I didn't even finish the little like paragraph I was reading, right? I'll just finish that and then I'll leave, right? I don't think there's any more point in continuing this, right? So I'll just read it again, right? Again, his biography, his historical biography alone is enough evidence for me, because he was an illiterate man. He was an uneducated man, right? Who was already known among his people and his enemies, right? After he's a prophet, that he was a truthful, trustworthy person who never told a lie, right? Who brought a revelation that contains supreme guidance that established one of the greatest and longest lasting civilizations of all time. He went against all odds and sacrificed everything to bring this pure message of absolute monotheism that all the previous prophets brought. He brought a revelation that is linguistically unmatched, right? With no errors or contradictions, that perfectly explains reality and it answers our intuitive questions about life. It contains accurate and unpredictable prophecies and scientific and historical knowledge that was unknowable at the time. Right. So all these different facts around the prophet tell me that the prophet could not have lied about his claim being a prophet. Therefore, he would be a prophet. That's it. And now, if you wanna like argue for like 4 or 5 minutes about like the errors of the Quran, I can do that, right? But then I
think we're all pretty familiar with the errors in the Quran.
Okay. I think you're misunderstanding them, but that's fine.
I think he was offering to defend the errors of the Quran.
Yeah.
I think it would be it's completely irrelevant. It cannot be confirmed that Muhammad didn't make it all up on the fly, just like many other prophets. Like he assumes about some other prophets in the world. There are other self-described prophets that have existed throughout humanity that have made stuff up on the fly. You would say that other individuals have made stuff up on the fly.
How would you know if it's made up or not?
You cannot confirm that Muhammad didn't do this. You can't eliminate the possibility that it was not made up on the fly.
How would you know if it's made up or not, though? Like you're the one making the claim as well, right?
Even if it was made up on the fly, Bing's argument is that there are literally no errors in the Quran. I mean, that would be slight evidence at least. So if that's his argument that there are literally no errors and Muhammad made it up on the fly, I mean that would still be decent evidence.
Yeah, neither internal nor external evidence errors, right?
But there are many errors in the Quran.
Yeah, but
there are many errors in the Quran. There are many scientific errors in the Quran that were derived from the very basic observations that humans can make at the time.
But you said something, right? You said the prophet made it up on the fly. How would you know that?
I can't eliminate the possibility that he didn't.
Okay, so why would you make the claim then?
I'm not claiming that he is. I'm saying you can't say that he didn't make it up on the fly when you can't eliminate the possibility that he didn't.
But you don't even know what I know about the prophet. So I think you're just strawmanning my position.
I'm lost. I'm lost here. Why does it matter if he made it up on the fly? If he made it up on the fly and there are no errors, that's still good evidence.
Like, okay, then you combine it. You combine it with the inability to confirm that he didn't make it up on the fly and the fact that it is chock full of errors.
It's not even about the errors thing, right? Like, okay, I do know that it has no errors. Plus, that all of the so-called expectations or prophecies did come true, right? In a specific, unpredictable, and falsifiable manner, right? And we have like hundreds of those without any of them being actual false, right? Hold on. If I were to know that, right? If that were to be like true, right? Would that be a reasonable position for me to hold, right? And I'm not saying this because I want you to validate me. I don't really care. I just want to know if you're sincere about this, right?
Yes, there are.
Can I ask you for one?
There are vast studies that have been done. There are vast studies that have been done that showcase like all the errors throughout the Quran.
Yeah,
massive errors, massive misinterpretations of reality, massive misinterpretations of phenomena. All of these things. It is chock full of them.
I think you're just like copying like some blog you read on the internet or something. Like,
I'm not. I have literally watched people. I have watched people and ex-Muslims literally walk through the Quran and explain why it's wrong.
Yeah, like Aaron Ra.
Bang! Sure. I produce a show hosted by Aaron Ra where we go through the Quran back, front to back, everything.
I don't think Aaron Ra has any credibility.
Your only argument is he doesn't understand it.
Jail, hold on. So even if I would grant you that Aaron Ra has no credibility, everyone else on the panel is an ex-Muslim.
Okay, Peter, can you take one argument that you've heard from this live stream and just like tell it to me? Let's see. Actually, give me your best. Give me the one that you think is like the most like challenging to Islam. Actually, right? and if I would be able to actually debunk it, like,
we've actually kind of
then you shouldn't bring this up again.
Hey, Bang.
We've already done that. We've already done that in an earlier conversation. So that
you're not talking to me though. You've spoken to other people.
Okay, I'll give you one. Okay. Stars are not lamps, and you can't throw them.
Where does it say that they're lamps and
in the Quran
and they can throw them? Wait, okay. So in what sense are they lamps? Like, what do you understand by
lamps? They are lamps that Allah can throw at specific people or at demons.
No. So this has two points, right? One is a lamp, another is the throw, right? Like, okay, what is a lamp?
It doesn't have 2 points. It is a lamp that can be thrown.
Yeah, it's two claims. It's a lamp and something that can be thrown. This is what you claim, right? It's two different things. They're not the same thing.
It is one claim. It is one claim. It is one claim. And that is that it is a lamp that can be thrown at people.
Yeah, but being a lamp isn't the same as can be thrown, right? So, like, being a what is
it is one? It is still one claim.
I think you're talking about Quran 67:5.
Yeah. So, what is a lamp, Peter? What defines a lamp exactly? Like, what do you think it is?
A lamp is an artificial apparatus to produce light.
Why does it have to be artificial? Like, why can't it be a metaphor for something that lights up in the sky the same way? Hold on, the same way, and a lamp actually lights up in the dark.
How do you know lamp was being bang? How do you know that lamp was being used metaphorically? No, Peter.
Because if
bang. How do you know? Bang. How do you know that lamp was being used metaphorically?
Well, actually, it's more serious than this. If it is a metaphor, then it's not scientific.
Nobody says scientific.
You said it's scientific.
You said that's an error.
I never said the claim is scientific. the claim about lamps being stars being lamps
and the
scientific.
history of Islam is all scientific, and now
I didn't say that. I know I didn't say that, guys. You're just ramming me, right? Like I'm saying, this
Your
claim
prosecution
about
rests.
this claim about it being a lamp is not supposed to be like
I
an
think the
actual
metaphor
physical
point
lamp
is
that
cop
is
out.
made by human beings, right? Okay.
I think the metaphor point is a cop out. I'm not convinced that Allah exists. You've talked almost nothing about Allah.
Yeah, I'm not
Almost
convinced.
all about Muhammad and the Quran.
I have one clarifying question. In the time that the Quran was written, right? The people that lived at that time, what would they think a lamp was?
Something that lights up in the dark. That's
Something?
they all literally understood it like that because they understood that metaphors were used.
We
and
really need to
metaphors
get
were
onto the
a huge
next
part of things.
So we need to.
Would the word
And
lamp,
that's fine. Like
would
if
the
you guys
word
don't want to
lamp-
like continue, if you
would-
guys can't handle like
would-
basic
I'm
grammar, right?
asking you a
Then that's
question.
fine.
Why do you keep over talking?
Because
would
Randolph was
lamp-
over talking.
Would the word lamp mean something that they themselves could construct and that would give off light? Would that be for them the definition of a lamp?
I didn't get it. Can you repeat that? Can you repeat the question? I didn't get it.
When the people living in the time when the Quran was written, if I were to mention to them lamp, would they think of something that they themselves or people in their community could construct that is used for giving off light at night so you can see?
That would be the basic general definition, but ultimately it's going to depend on what you ascribe it to, right? If it's just a lamp, like a room lamp, like some sort of like a glass lamp, right? Then they're gonna think of an actual lamp, like like the literal physical lamp that we use, right? If you tell them like a celestial lamp, they're gonna think of stars.
If I would try to describe to them something that is not a lamp, not by a long stretch, not a lamp, would I then use the word lamp?
No. Well, if you tell people, well, there's this thing that lights up, right? That lights up and hanging in the night, that would define a lamp, like something that lights up, that hangs in the dark, right? This is how the lamp is understood, and this could be applied to a star metaphorically, because a star literally is up there in the sky, the dark sky, right? And it lights.
Allah on purpose wanted to spread the misinformation that the lights you see at night in the sky are not planets.
I think you guys are not being charitable. I think you guys are not being charitable. I'm just gonna leave.
I'm asking
you guys are
asking you a question.
Okay.
No. I'm asking you a question.
Nice day, guys.
I know, Peter,
yeah, this
I
is
don't think
wasting
he's
time.
convincing anybody, and he's just defending the Quran at this point. I don't think anybody's going to get convinced from this.
Yeah, instead of giving him an inch, you gave him a whole lamp.
So someone has been spamming Randolph with all sorts of DMs, spicy DMs, and he thinks he can. Yeah, this sounds like a good one. RNG base.
RNG base. Just so you know, I just reposted the article in the chat so people can see what you're talking about.
Yeah, sure. All right, who am I talking to? Because
I'm Randolph.
Yeah, okay. So let's go to the article point by point, yeah?
Well, let's try to keep it quick, because we'll also be expecting that you're going to provide us with some convincing argument for your God, I guess, would be Allah. But before that, go ahead and respond to this article really quickly, and let's get through that.
Okay, so chapter 25, verse 5 says, they also say tales from the past that he wrote down. They were decanted to him day and night, right? What does the verse in Arabic means? Do you guys understand any word of the verse in Arabic?
What is the point of the question? Like, is there like an argument here? Something?
Oh yeah. For Tjump, I had a suggestion. I actually suggest you shave the stash. You look better off of it. Second point, I'd say, what is
Those
the
are
word?
points. Can you like? What is your argument? What is your evidence? Something like?
I am I am discussing the paper you have sent, guys.
Oh, the paper I sent on evolution?
No.
Pathogenesis?
No, this is for a link that I shared in the chat that somebody's explaining why Muhammad was not illiterate.
All right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so he's arguing that Muhammad was illiterate?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So, Randolph, what is the word for he wrote down in Arabic? Go on.
Well, you had made a point here asking that I should be reading the Arabic version. I reject that because here we are in a place where we're speaking English, and so we're going to be using English translations here. I expect that the translations will be accurate. If you think the translations are not accurate, then, of course, there's going to be a lot of people in the world who are relying on those English translations who are getting Islam wrong.
I would say you will not get the full meanings of the words via translation. Hence, the word for wrote down is اكتتبها. اكتتبها is a fi'l, which tells you he told somebody to write it down.
So the underlying message that you're saying here is that the Quran, in its original version, is explicitly stating that Muhammad is illiterate?
Yes.
And how did that get mistranslated?
It did not get. I told you the point where he said he is illiterate. It did not get mistranslated. But the point you're trying to make about him writing it down, I think this got mistranslated. Hence, the word says iktatabaha, which is a form of a verb, while you're giving commands such as you should write this down, as you guys write it down. Somebody else wrote it down.
Okay, so I can accept that things will be changed in translation, but I think in general, the essence of the message will still be there. And the idea that that you're saying that it hasn't been mistranslated in the Quran into the English versions obviates the need for, eliminates the need for having us look at the Arabic version.
I would strongly disagree. You cannot find one Muslim that actually read the Quran in English and thinks this is the Quran, because Quran has been revealed in an Arabic tongue, and the Quran states this multiple times via the Quran. So if let's say a Western guy who reverts to Islam, he wanna perform his prayers, he cannot recite Quran in English.
Well, I know many people who study Islam in the English translations only and don't know Arabic. They might know a few words because of the people they truck with, but they're not fluent in Arabic and wouldn't be able to read the Arabic version.
Subhanallah, that's what I'm telling you. The Quran tells you via multiple occasions or multiple spots in the Quran that shows it is Quran bilisan Arabiy mubin. It is a Quran that has been revealed in an Arabic tongue.
That's pretty short-sighted for an omniscient entity.
So what I'm going to say, you're saying that, RNG base, you're saying that the Quran does state that Muhammad is illiterate. So what you're saying is the Quran disagrees with what's in that article that I posted, and I can accept that.
Yes. Fair enough. So you take that article off. You don't rely on that anymore.
You can't eliminate it, though.
So to clarify, my reason, as I stated numerous times with the previous guest, is that his name is Bang, and thank you for coming on, Bang, is that the reason I provided that article is to show that we're not the only ones that question the veracity of the claim that Muhammad was illiterate.
I see. So if somebody have a question about the Quran, I think the least person he would go to is an atheist, right?
Yeah, I think that it makes more sense to talk to people who regularly study those things, for sure. Now, if you want to raise doubts, and you want to find out different perspectives about something, then certainly you're going to talk to people who don't necessarily agree with the ideas, because that can be helpful in garnering more perspective, and that's a reasonable thing to do. So, for example, if I wanted to get some additional perspective on debating against Christianity, I could talk to Muslims, and some of them could probably give me some argument suggestions that I hadn't thought of from my own non-Muslim perspective.
Yes, but why would you ask a Muslim about Christianity unless your intentions are literally not to learn, but actually try to refute something? We are here all to learn something, right? I'm not here
Well, to try to
trying.
refute would be one option. Another option would be to try to develop a more rigorous test of the ideas, not necessarily with the intention of refuting it.
Mhm. All right. So
It also
we're taking
seems,
back
to
the
be
Arabic
honest,
enough.
RNG. It also seems really short-sighted of an omniscient entity to basically cultivate a religion that can only be understood in one language. This entity possesses infallible knowledge that is not the dominant language in the world.
Okay, you made a fair point. I would like Ant to answer that. Could I?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So the Quran makes the claim there are some clear-cut evidences of verses which are um, easy to understand for any language, like any language in the world, such as English, German. I don't mind. Yeah, but like let's say worship your God alone, and let's not associate partners with him. That's fine, right? But when you are coming to the Quran and you're looking at the word like such as iktataba, which you don't have one word translation for it, which actually you need an actual literally sentence for you to translate it. How is this my fault? It shows the strength of the Arabic language.
No, I didn't say it was your fault. I said it's Allah's fault.
No, you're
Because
wrong.
Allah, because no,
wait,
because,
wait,
because
wait.
Allah has
No.
infallible. No, because Allah has infallible omniscience of all things. So Allah
100%.
would know and would possess the information, would possess the knowledge that Arabic is not the forefront language of the planet, and that eventually it wouldn't be there. So wouldn't it be? So Allah would know that it would have to express itself in such a way that it would be easily interpreted by any language that came to it, but it chose not to do that.
Alhamdulillah, that's a very good question. Where were you at the dark ages of Europe? Arabic was a universal language. You had to learn Arabic to gain science, right?
No,
Or you-
in Greek,
No,
in
you
Greece,
didn't
you
have
had to
to.
speak Greek.
Okay, provide your source.
In Greece,
So what you are saying that Allah's knowledge doesn't progress after the Dark Ages? That Allah doesn't know what happened after that?
No, that's a straw man by yourself.
No. That was literally the question JL asked. If Allah is omniscient,
Yes.
then he would know that at some point Arabic wasn't the first language anywhere on the planet, except for a small region. Then he would provide us with 100% correct translations of the Quran. And we would not need, hold on, I'm not finished. We would not need to learn Arabic in order to read it and interpret it 100% accurately. That is what JL said.
Okay. So how many languages do you speak, Tucker?
That's
3.
irrelevant to the point.
No, wait. I'm trying to make a point. Why are you attacking me, Warren? Wait.
I'm not attacking you. I'm attacking you. The question is irrelevant. You need to ask why would an omniscient entity not?
Okay, guys. If I can't speak to one person.
I could make the joke. I speak 2 more languages than Allah.
Okay, fair enough. You said that. Now I'm telling you, every single Muslim on the planet, as of today, has to learn Arabic. How is this not Arabic revealing? No, it is relevant.
No, you made. What? Hold on. You made the perfect argument in favor of what JL said. Every Muslim has to learn Arabic. So how does one become a Muslim when you don't speak Arabic and you have to go off of false translations? Then you are a false Muslim.
No, you have to go to learn Arabic. Wait, let me make my point then. You ask a question and you don't want to answer it for me. Go ahead, answer it. Go on. I'll listen to you. Answer the question. Okay. So you asked me a question. Why is Arabic not prevailing as of today? We have approximately 2 billion Muslims across the world. They all have to learn Arabic. It doesn't matter how much. You have to learn Arabic to recite Surah Al-Fatiha. Then I will tell you why are 2 billion people, a majority of the world right now, have to speak Arabic, have to learn Arabic.
My point was, and I think that was JL's point as well, people who become Muslim, who do not speak Arabic, have to read a false translation first?
No, they don't have to. They can learn Arabic and read the Arabic version of it.
No, no.
Because
You
wait,
just said
wait,
a Muslim.
wait.
You just made the claim. You just made the claim. Now let me finish. You just made the claim. A Muslim has to learn Arabic.
Yes.
A non-Muslim does not have to learn Arabic. In order to become a Muslim, if you're not a Muslim, the only thing you will have is the Quran in your own language.
Okay.
Which means that Allah has provided you with a false translation and then
False
expects you
translation?
to correct that later.
I wouldn't say false translation. I would say an improper translation. So in essence, the chosen language, language that the language that Allah has chosen is Arabic. Okay. Now, if Allah exists and Allah is trying to convey truth to all the people, okay, then it would behoove Allah in its omniscience and its omnipotence to be able to, the ability to do anything and knows all things, that it would behoove the message that it be able to be translated into any language without error so that all the people could understand this. This would behoove the mission of this deity. But this deity, RNG, hang on, RNG, but this deity did not do this. Why is that?
Okay. So you're asking why it has been revealed in an Arabic tone, right? Or an Arabic tongue, right? Is this your question?
No, I'm asking you, why did Allah need to give a translation, or need to basically give it? Why did Allah need to word it in such a way that there would be, knowing that there would be translational difficulties along the way? Why not just word it in such a way, because it has the power to do so? Why not just word it in a way that no matter how you translate it into any language, it always says the same thing?
Okay, alhamdulillah, that's good. هو خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. So the verse says, he created life and death to test you, who is doing good and who's doing bad. حسب الناس أن يؤمنوا من غير أن يفتنوا. Do people think they would believe without having trialships and hardships during their beliefs? So Allah puts the challenge in front of the believer to test their faith. This could be one of these tests, right?
And we've already discussed why faith is inappropriate to use.
Huh?
I want to know why it matters if it's...
Wait, please, 1 second. Did I answer your question, Warren?
No, you basically summed it up. You need to have faith, and faith is an unreliable pathway to truth, so it's unnecessary.
No, I didn't do that. I literally told you there gotta be trial ships, there gotta be hardships to be tested. I didn't say faith. I said testing your faith, but
testing your faith. Testing your faith, meaning you have to have faith. Why would I possess faith in anything?
This is just your intuition.
It's not my intuition. Yes, I have confidence based upon evidence. I don't possess faith.
Do you know the saying there are no atheists on a falling airplane?
Yeah, yes, I've been on a falling airplane. I am still an atheist.
Did you call out for a deity to help you?
No, I did not.
Are you sure?
Yes, I was there.
All right, Shala, we can talk the
6,000 foot plummet, dude. I can guarantee you, I did not call for a god.
Okay, fair enough.
I can do you one better. I was conscious when my heart stopped beating. I know what was going to happen. I had no need for a god at that point.
Okay, and I don't know about that. We'll see in the afterlife. Second point I'm trying to make. If you want to talk about the existing...
I have not seen the afterlife.
You guys making points. You're not allowing me to talk, guys. Come on.
No. Don't strawman me. Don't strawman me. I said
I didn't strawman. I told
conscious when my heart stopped beating. That does not mean that you're dead.
I told you we're gonna see and find out in the afterlife if there is any, right? We're gonna test out, right? How is that straw manning? Second point I'm trying to make. You actually made me.
I misunderstood. My apologies. Apologies. I misunderstood.
Yeah, that's fine. If you want to talk about the existence of God, we can shift it and we can talk about the existence of God via the logical narrative, since you don't believe in any religion, right? What do you guys say?
Can you say again? I missed it.
I was aiming this for Warren, since he was saying about the existence of a god, and I was saying about if you the saying about there are no atheists on a falling airplane. So if you want to talk about the existence of a god, we can shift this and go to how do you say this? We
Like
go
to
to
ask
a
a
logical
question, if you
narrative.
don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Tjump, go on.
So you brought up you have to read it in Arabic, but I don't see why. There's no extra knowledge in the Arabic. It's literally you just read it in English, you read it in Arabic, you get the exact same knowledge. I don't know why Muslims think reading it in Arabic is somehow special. It seems to be the same thing that Christians did back in the like
Are you
17th,
sure?
18th century, where they said you had to read it in Latin, which had nothing to do with the actual content. It was just in order to keep the people uneducated. So I don't see any reason why you would have to read it in Arabic at all.
Yeah, and to be fair here, RNG Base did confirm for me that the translation has the same thing, so we were okay there.
Yeah, but okay. I want to test something out. Could you provide somebody who knows Arabic, maybe, from the chat? So I can show you that actually people of this time do not speak the same language that they spoke earlier.
Why does that matter?
So I can show you language changes over time, and
Of course it does. Why does that matter?
I'm trying to make my point. Do you want to let me make my point, or
What is the point?
I'm trying to make my point about saying the language, translations, mistranslations, because if you are relying on translation, you're not getting the original form. Hence, you have to go to source a reliable source of the translation, right?
Now, if you just tell me, if we get a reliable source who can actually read Arabic and they can tell me it in English, then I get the exact same meaning both ways.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. Still, even if you get a reliable source, just a quick thing. I think
Hang on. I've got to interrupt here. I'm going to, if it's okay, I'm going to bring in El Kennedy in because they've indicated that they speak Arabic. Would that be okay?
I know that Kennedy. I think he knows the verse, but sure, go on, bring it up.
Hello, El Kennedy. Thank you for helping out. Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are we doing? Alhamdulillah. Okay. So basically, you've proposed to bring an Arabic person, and I speak Arabic, so yeah, you can make your point. I can help you, brother.
Okay. I have this ayah from Surah Al-Dhariyat which says, وَالسَّمَاءَ بَنَيْنَاهَ بِأَيْدٍ وَإِنَّا لَمُوسِعُونَ. Can you translate this in English?
Okay. السَّمَاءَ بَنَيْنَاهَ. It means we have built the heavens. وَمُوسِعُونَ means we have expanded it, basically.
You forgot one word.
Which one?
وَالسَّمَاءَ بَنَيْنَاهَا بِأَيْدٍ وَإِنَّا لَمُوسِعُونَ.
Yeah, we built the heavens with our own hands, and we are its expanders.
Okay, see, here's the problem. He said بِأَيْدٍ as hands, while the word is بِأَيْدٍ from أَيَّدَ, which is strengthen, which gives strength. And if you think I'm mistaken, Al-Kennedy, go to At-Tabari or Ibn Kathir and you will see what I mean.
Okay, so if you say it in English the correct way, then it's still the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
It's the same thing.
It could be, but I'm showing you that there are changes of the Arabic language.
Yeah, people can mistranslate things and missay it in Arabic too. The fact that they're translated to English doesn't make it any less reliable than if they're translated into Arabic. It makes no difference.
Oh,
it's just you have to make it translate it correctly.
You made a comment on the saying of the stars are they are being thrown out, right? Who made that claim? Tucker, I think.
Yeah, he was talking about the description that the stars are lamps and they can be thrown at individuals or demons.
Bring up the verse, please.
So I think we don't want to spend too much more time on this because I think that the point has been made overall.
Thank you.
Did you have some kind of reason to some way of convincing us that a god or a goddess exists? Either of you?
I would bring up the infinite regress. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, paradox. Maybe we can go off that. What do you guys think? Do you take this, or do you already have a few?
That's up to you. You decide what argument you think would work. What approach would work best to convince us?
All right. So I believe there gotta be a first causation for this universe, right? And this first causation gotta be there from the start. Or we will get the cause of infinite regress. I think you are familiar with it, or do I have to explain?
Is there no? I'm familiar with it. Is there a logical contradiction in infinite regress?
If there is no first causation, then you would not have a start. Do you agree or disagree with that?
That's false. But that's not. He asked, is there a logical contradiction with a past infinite regress?
I'm not sure what he means, but go on. Could you elaborate,
A
please?
contradiction is like saying a married bachelor saying something exists and doesn't exist at the same time. It's literally saying one thing and the exact opposite thing at the same time.
I don't think there is.
Okay, so if there's no logical contradiction, that means it's possible.
Yes.
It is possible to have an infinite regress.
Not to mention, when you're talking about infinites, you're talking about mathematics, and you've got convergent and divergent series of infinites, and divergent series of infinites go on, but convergent series of infinites tend towards a limit. So it's not logically contradictory for there to be an infinite regress.
Okay, so I'm gonna make this claim. You're welcome to take it. I haven't studied philosophy, or I have not studied ilm al-kalam, as they say. So I'm gonna make this argument. You feel free if you want to take it. If you don't, that's up to you. I can help you with prophecies via Torah or any other book. It doesn't matter. But all right, so I'm gonna make this claim. Without a first causation, we would not have a start of the universe. Do I here agree, disagree, and can I know why?
No, that would be wrong. You can still have a past infinite regress and still have a start to the universe. That's perfectly fine. It's like if I pick a number, say 47. There are infinitely many numbers before 47. There's infinitely many numbers in between 46 and 47. How did I get to 47? I picked it.
But I'm not talking about numbers.
No, yes, you are. So infinite points in time, each one can be represented by a number. So we can have a start to the universe at 47. Say the Big Bang happened at 47, or we can say 13.8 billion years. Pick a number, doesn't matter. And you can say that's a result of a quantum field, and the quantum field collapsed at that point in time, just like happens randomly when uranium decays. So there are infinitely many different times that uranium could decay, but it picks a specific time to decay. So having a past infinite does not make it impossible to have a beginning to a specific event in time.
Can we have something which is actually sensible that we can measure throughout the universe of such sort, or some which have the same properties that you mentioned?
Quantum fields, yes.
Are they testable?
Aren't they what? You cut out.
Are they testable? Are they sensible? Can we see it? Can we feel it?
Like uranium, in quantum mechanics, uranium has infinitely many different times it can decay, but it decays at one time. So it has infinitely many past infinite. It decays at a specific time.
Why does it decay at a specific time, may I ask? I have no knowledge of
quantum mechanics.
So this is just wait. I'm trying to let you elaborate on the quantum mechanics, and you are saying because of quantum mechanics this happened. This is a circular argument, isn't it?
No,
it is.
No, that's which premise is in the conclusion.
Is it not?
No, circular reasoning is when you have a premise in the conclusion. Which premise is in the conclusion?
Yes, which you concluded that quantum physics does not have a start, and I told you why they don't have a start, because you said then quantum physics, because of quantum physics you started.
I didn't say any of that.
No, you said that because of quantum physics, uranium decays at a certain time.
Right. So uranium has infinitely many times it could decay, but it decays at a specific time. So it has an infinite past of possible decay times.
Why?
And it decays at one time specifically.
Why?
Because that's how quantum fields work.
This is
so you asked, do we have a thing that wait, you asked, do we have hold up. You asked, do we have a thing which we can measure that has this property? Yes, we do. There is a quantum particle. Quantum particles like uranium decay at a specific time, even though there's infinitely many other times they could decay.
Why they decay at this specific time? Because of quantum physics.
Why
right?
do you keep asking that? I gave you. You asked, "Is there a thing we can
Circular
measure?" I said,
argument.
"Yes, there is." You're deflecting to a separate topic. Yes, there is a thing that has this property that we can literally measure. You asking
Circular
why it has
argument.
the property
This is
doesn't
not
make it
helping
not
you.
have the
If
property.
you're repeating, this is not helping you. This is circular argument for me.
No, it's not helping you because I answered your question and you're deflecting to a separate, unrelated question.
Argument does
The
not hold up.
question was, do we have a thing in reality that we can measure that has this property? The answer is
Circular
yes.
argument does not add up.
Asking why it has the property is irrelevant. I told you we do have a thing with this property we can measure. It doesn't matter how many times you ask why, it's still going to be a thing with the property that we can measure.
Why? Because of quantum physics. Why quantum physics? Because
Why
of
it doesn't
quantum-
matter. You asked,
argument.
is there a thing with this property?
Can we move on?
Yes,
Can
there
we-
is
can we
a
actually
thing
move
with this
on?
property. You don't need to ask why
Can we
now.
move
I've answered your
on of
question.
circular
Stop
reasoning?
interrupting me.
Yeah,
You
sure.
asked, is there a thing with this property? I said, yes. And then I told you what it was. You don't get to ask why. I just gave you an example of a thing with the property. That's all there is to it. It doesn't matter why. We know it has the property.
It doesn't matter why.
Don't get to
Okay.
ask why because I
Why
gave
not?
you a thing with the property. That was your question. Your question, is there a thing with this property? I said yes and gave you an example. Why doesn't matter. There is a thing we can measure with the property in
Tjump.
reality.
You said why it doesn't matter. Then why are you asking about God's existence? Just believe it.
Are you dumb? Like that doesn't follow.
Why not? Being hypocrite,
Because we're asking,
isn't it?
do you have evidence for God's existence? You
Yes.
said infinite regress. I said, nope, that can be explained by natural phenomenon. You asked, is there an example of something like that? I said, yes, uranium. Then you ask, oh, why are you asking about God? That's just a stupid question. So I answered all of your questions coherently, and you're deflecting to completely unrelated, irrelevant topics.
I would like to interject something here. I think the argument of just believe it is not convincing me. And I think that we should probably start moving on to the next caller because that's RNG based. Thank you for coming on. And AL Canada,
Can I
Candy.
make my argument now?
Too.
Thank you for having me.
Randolph, can I ask one final
No, I
question
want
to
to say something. I
RNG?
want to say something.
Yes,
Well, he's gone, so it's my turn. Well, do I begin or what? Okay, sure.
Go ahead.
Sure, did
Okay,
you-
so
did you have argument for
basically, I
God?
think one of you guys, I'm not sure who it was, right? You said that the Arabs of the 7th century, they translated masabih in the sky, which is lamps, as literal lamps, so not as stars. Is that what you're
No,
saying?
that's not what I said. That's not what I
Well,
said.
then what was what you said? Because that's exactly what you said.
That's not what I said.
That's literally what you said.
Okay, what did you say, Peter? What was your argument?
Okay, what does the word mean?
Okay, it's used in different contexts, right? But we have Tafsir ibn Kathir, Tafsir ibn Abbas, Tafsir al-Tabari, and they all have translated it as a source of light in the sky.
I'm
And these are
asking
the
a
earliest
simple
ones.
question. What does the word mean?
A source of light. And listen, see, here's the thing, right? You're asking me what the word means, right? And then you're taking it out of context completely. I told you what it means according to Ibn Kathir. Do you not take Ibn Kathir as an authority? Do you want to translate Arabic yourself? Do you know Arabic? Okay. I can show you a lexicon where it translates the word.
Stop. So
Can
he
you
said that it means
can we
a
keep it
source of
can,
light.
can
That's
we
what he
keep it
said.
respectful without resorting to shouting?
And can you step away
That
from
would
your
be nice.
microphone because you're burning
Yeah,
everybody's
no,
ears?
listen. Okay, here. I'm away from my microphone and I made my
Much
argument.
better.
Okay, sure.
What about the
Now-
demons in that verse?
Wait, that's a separate topic. So his argument was is that it doesn't mean lamps; it means sources of light. That's fine.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
it
see
says
that
so
as-
in the tafsir. Unless you guys are mufassirs and you're trying
Okay.
to interpret your own way. You
No,
can
no,
see
no.
that
Let's
point?
go with that. Let's go with
Okay,
that.
sure.
At the time the Quran was written,
Sure.
how would the people have?
It wasn't written. It was
interpreted
orally
the word?
revealed. It wasn't written.
Okay, 1400 years ago, approximately, when it was revealed.
Do we
It was
have to
orally
go
translated.
into semantics? Hold on.
It's not semantics. You guys are saying something completely
It
wrong, and I'm
doesn't- it
correct.
You need
doesn't
to
matter,
step away
doesn't
from your
matter.
microphone.
Literal
You're
date doesn't
basically
matter. Let
wrecking
him finish.
people's ears.
Peter, go ahead.
Please stop shouting. It doesn't help. I was asking a simple question.
Ask your
At
question.
the
Ask your
time,
question.
the Quran at the time, the Quran came into existence by whatever means you want to use.
No,
What
it came
did
to existence
word
by Allah's uncreated speech being revealed to the angel Gabriel,
Let
which
him
was
finish.
me
Let him
time to
finish.
finish
Okay,
my
let him finish.
How's that?
How's that?
Until
Well,
you
Allah's
give-
created speech. He spoke to the angel, and the angel delivered the message. It's as simple as that. And then Muhammad, he recited the verses to his followers.
What question are you answering? Al-Kanadi, what question are you answering?
I'm answering your question about how the Quran was transmitted, how it was
The one
revealed.
that I didn't get out? The one that you didn't allow me to ask?
Which
You're
question is that?
Repeat my question back to me, please.
No. Your statement was that you don't know, or you assume something wrong.
Repeat
With the
my
Quran.
last question back to me, please.
No, I didn't hear it because I was correcting your nonsense. So you
Exactly,
can repeat it.
because you were over talking me. So I'll ask it again. In the time, and I have to be careful because you're going to get mad again. In the time when the Quran came into existence, what did that word mean to the people that were alive back
A
then?
source of light. It says so in Ibn Kathir. I already answered this like 3 times now.
Okay. And
Yeah.
can any source of light, be thrown at people?
Well, yeah, metaphysically. I mean, if Allah describes it as such, then sure.
Ah, so you can throw the sun.
Well, we're talking about Allah subhanahu wa
wait.
ta'ala himself, so I'm not sure what's your question.
We're talking
Hold
about
up,
the
hold up,
source
hold
of
up.
light. The sun is the
So-
source of light, isn't it?
One sec. So
Oh,
The sun is the source of light.
stop.
Please let me
You
finish
talk
my line.
past each other. Just stop.
Please
Just
let me
stop.
finish my line of questioning.
Peter, stop.
Please
Peter,
let me
Peter.
finish my.
I'm trying to clarify. You
Finish my
misunderstood what he said.
question.
You
You
made a
don't
mistake,
go somewhere with
Peter.
this.
You made up.
Peter, stop for a sec. Let T jump.
So
get his
you asked the question: can any light be thrown at somebody? Al-Kanadi said, yes, some lights can be thrown at somebody. That does not mean literally every light can be thrown at somebody. And so you following up with a sun would only apply if you said, can every source of light be thrown at somebody? So
No.
separate thing.
Because that would be my clarifying part of the question. If he implies that the word can be used to describe a star, our sun is a star. It's a very logical follow-up of what he said. If some things can be thrown, then I want to be specific. Can our sun be thrown? Because our sun is a star.
Yeah, our sun can be thrown by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't understand your point.
Our sun can be thrown by what?
Yes, it's listen.
God.
You're talking about Allah, the God, yeah, omnipotent being. So you're saying he cannot throw the sun away to hit certain demons or something?
Let me grant you that Allah would have power. Let me grant you that Allah would have the power to throw the sun. Can he throw the sun at someone specific on the planet without hurting the rest of the planet?
Can he do that? Yes, he can.
Is that physically possible?
No.
Exactly.
No, how you perceive it, it is not possible. However, Allah, as He created the laws of nature,
you
He
just
can and is
admitted
able to do it.
Just admitted
The question
an
itself
error
is
in
wrong.
Quran.
No, what do you mean? I'm literally answering your questions. You're the one interrupting me, sir. You're literally the one interrupting me.
Also, so you can interrupt me, but I can't interrupt you.
No. Look, I've never interrupted you when you were going off that tirade. You interrupted me while I was giving my answer.
Earlier.
I answered your question. Which question?
Yeah, after I had to beg you to listen to my entire question, right?
No. I answered it like 4 times and you repeated it again.
Let's keep this cordial and let's give each other time to speak. That would help.
That's what I did. Wallahi, that's what I did.
Do you move on to the next question instead of like just insulting us
Okay,
a waste of
sure,
time?
sure.
Move on to the next question.
Yeah, what's your next question?
You just admitted that even for Allah, it's impossible to throw the sun.
No, that's not what I said. Stop strawmanning me. No,
and
that's not what I said. I said
again
we perceive it as.
You are again over talking me.
No, it's because you're strawmanning me, and when you're strawmanning me, I have to respond. No.
So
Okay,
I think
look.
Al-Kanadi's correct. You're strawmanning him. He said it's physically impossible given the laws of physics, but God is all powerful, so he can overcome the laws of physics. So he's saying his God could do it, even if it doesn't adhere to the laws of physics. So he was correct. You were strawmanning his position. He did not say it was impossible for Allah.
There you go. At least Tjump gets it. Why can't you?
So he would suspend the laws of physics when
Yes.
he throws the sun at our planet to just hit one specific person.
Yes, he said that's what
Yes,
his
he
God
can.
could do because his God is all powerful.
And you have evidence that that can happen.
Do I have evidence that an omnipotent, all-powerful being that set up the laws of physics can do something like that? Is that really the question you want to be asking me?
No. My specific question was, do you have evidence that that can happen?
What do you mean? Do you have evidence? We can logically deduct that
he's
such
asking,
is the
Do
case.
you have evidence? Do you have evidence that Allah can do this?
Okay, one sec. Let me just fix my mic since people are telling me to fix my mic. But I'll get back to your point. I'll answer your question. Just give me a second.
I'll try to explain what I'm asking. So you are making a claim that Allah has a specific ability. I will grant you your claim. Now, my follow-up question is, do you have evidence that this can actually happen?
It can happen by the will of God. Yeah, it can.
So he's asking, like, is there any evidence that Allah is all powerful? Is there
Empirical,
evidence that an all powerful
empirical
being
evidence.
exists?
No, well, he has
is-
to be
that is-
all. No, he has to be all powerful by necessity.
Claim.
You know,
You
he has to be all powerful by necessity.
Restating the claim. You misunderstood. That is restating the claim. My question was specific. Do you have evidence that that can actually happen?
Why would I need evidence for that to happen?
To justify
by the
your
will of
belief
the
in
Lord.
it.
No,
so he did. He
no,
said
that's
it's-
not how
he
things
said
work.
it's
If you don't have evidence, why do I need to accept your claim without any evidence?
Hold up. He
No,
presented
because it's
evidence.
logical.
He
It's
presented
logical. It's
evidence. One sec. So the thing he claimed was evidence that he claimed God's nature necessarily must be all powerful. Therefore, he must be able to do this.
Yeah, that's exactly my position.
Which is not evidence.
No, but you're literally. Oh my God, do I have to explain this again? D-Jump literally explained it to you.
The question would be: is why do you think God is necessarily all powerful? Because that doesn't seem to be necessary. It seems to be something theists just kind of made up.
That's a necessary attribute, I believe, and I'll tell you why. Because listen, so when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He creates, right, He would be able to know what He created and He'd be able to predicate what was created. Okay? So what this basically means is that omnipotence and being unknowledgeable in all these sifat, all these attributes are necessary to Him, right? And without them, then that means that this is a secondary creator and there's a greater creator behind him, which is something illogical because both gods their worlds would contradict each other, right? And this is actually proven in the Quran. Allah makes an example here. Abraham refutes the polytheists by saying that, how polytheists, they used to have societies and there were idols and there was a big idol where they used to sacrifice to him
Let me interrupt for a second.
Yeah.
We can just say that there isn't an all powerful God. Problem solved.
No.
mind.
I'll get to that. Okay, give me a sec. Okay, so basically the argument here is that if a fly were to take food from one of these big gods, the big gods, he wouldn't be able to take it back. So this pretty much refutes the will of these gods. So this means, right, that by necessity, that this God, this all-powerful God, he has to be omnipotent. He has to be all-knowledgeable, and he has to have all these other attributes. Otherwise, another God would be predicated to him, and
so let me address that one sec. Before you go on, let me address that. So there could be no gods. There could be a powerful being named Allah who is created by a field, and so the field is all powerful, and Allah isn't. And so Allah may have created this universe, but He's not all powerful. So your argument is false. That there could be a being that's really powerful. One sec, let me finish. So there could, one sec. Stop talking. I'm going to mute you. There could be a being who's really powerful, but it was created by something like a field that has no mind, and it's all powerful. So you don't need a mind there.
And I can make it even shorter. So you make that claim. I'll grant you everything that you assert that Allah is. The fact is, I don't believe it. And the topic of this conversation is that you convince us why your claim must be true.
Okay, but
you can
have to
state, you can claim. Hold on. You can claim Allah is necessary, but you would still have to convince us that He is necessary and come up with a good explanation why He would be.
That's what he was doing, Peter. He was literally trying to give an explanation of why there has to be a necessary being. That was the whole point of his argument. That's what he was answering.
Literally.
Yes, and
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, but I don't see a convincing claim nor any evidence of that would support that claim.
It's a logical reduction. No, it's not a false argument. You literally strawman me, Tjump. You said that if a field with no consciousness gave Allah the ability, then Allah is less greater than the field, which is a fallacy because Allah has a consciousness and the field does not have consciousness.
So
you think that okay, look, listen. Does a rock have consciousness?
Sure.
You think a rock has consciousness?
Sure.
Why?
Yes. Sure. Yes.
Why?
I'm just granting he has consciousness for the sake of the argument. I don't think Allah is like a god at all. So, but we can say that there is.
No, but that's still a logical fallacy. A rock does not have consciousness.
Not a logical fallacy.
It's literally the same thing as a field. No, it does not have consciousness. Anyone with a brain knows it doesn't have a consciousness. This is a stupid argument. No, that's not how things work.
I don't think you understand anything you're saying there. So I'm saying a field is all powerful.
Literally
no God. There's no consciousness. A field is all powerful, no mind. And it created things with mind.
No mind, then it doesn't. No. If it doesn't have a mind, then it doesn't have the predication to create. So that's a fallacy in itself.
No, that's not a fallacy. It can create just fine. That's what quantum fields do.
No, it doesn't. No, it needs a consciousness to create.
Don't interrupt. Quantum fields can create just fine. You don't need a mind to create things. That is the consensus in physics. Quantum fields can create things without a mind just fine.
No, but you need a consciousness for a creator to create. Now, listen. The argument was that Allah has consciousness, and the field does not have consciousness. Can something without consciousness give something with consciousness?
Yes.
Like what?
That's how every consciousness is created, from non-living matter with non-conscious matter creates consciousness.
Okay, so is the mother not conscious when she's giving birth to a child?
Consciousness is produced by the matter, not the mother.
No, I'm asking. No, that's not the point of the argument. I'm telling you, can something without consciousness give life or give consciousness to a conscious being?
Yes. Consciousness can come from non-conscious things. It's called matter. Matter does that. Matter creates consciousness. Matter is not conscious.
Well, how do you prove that?
All of the scientific evidence in neurology, psychology, cognitive science, philosophy of mind, everything indicates that.
No, because see, here's the thing. Consciousness is the instinctive nature of matter, right? So that argument is false.
Instinctive what?
No, it's the instinctive nature of matter.
No, that is no evidence to support that. That's not any position.
I can literally get you scientific. No. Scientific American literally agrees with me. What do you mean? I can post the link right now.
No, they don't. I can give you a full.
Yes, they do. I can
don't interrupt. I'm going to mute you. Don't interrupt. I'm going to mute you. So
mute me because
don't interrupt. Okay. Stop talking. So I can bring you the polls of everything from the philosophy of mind, Phil Survey's paper in philosophy, the cognitive science and neuroscience. I can take any one of them. The whole consensus in every academic field is mind is a result of matter. None of them indicate the idealism or consciousness is fundamental. That is a single digit position. Like nobody accepts that in any of those fields. I can show you the polls. Like it's 4%, 3% in physics, 4% in philosophy. Nobody accepts that because there is no evidence for it.
No, you're a liar. Because I literally just posted an article and it refutes you.
Okay, I'll post the polls of the expert consensus in every single one of those fields that shows you're full of crap.
Well, the article
surveys paper 2020. There you go.
I have a survey as well, so where it is.
You don't get an opinion because I just posted the consensus of all of the different fields.
Where's the consensus of all the different fields in your link?
Full surveys paper 2020. Fundamental attitudes in physics.
I don't see the link. Where is it?
I'm sending it to...
Send it to my DMs.
Yeah, I can send it to yours. I'm going to send it to Randall because he's going to post it he wants to post it in the chat. Physics snapshot.
I'm not sure about this consensus you're talking about because, physicists say that consciousness might be a state of matter as well.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. Literally,
no, they
do.
Oh, no, you're an idiot. You're an idiot.
You're the idiot. You're a soy boy.
Don't talk over me or I'm going to kick your ass. So, as I said, the
consensus... I fucked your wife.
physics from the
Oh,
physics
come on, guys!
polls
Stop!
say that it's a single
Not okay. You
digit
can't do
of
that.
idealism.
What?
Never
I
mind.
literally
I mean,
posted something to refute you. I literally
2% of
posted.
people.
never mind. It's completely begging the question as to the truth of the Quran because he's getting all of this from the Quran, and he can't demonstrate that the Quran is true.
Something von Neumann hypothesis. The something von Neumann.
I shared your link, by the way, Tjump, in both Discord and YouTube. So that he was quite a firecracker.
Wigner von Neumann. That's it. Wigner von Neumann, and you can go to the Wikipedia for Wigner von Neumann, and it should give you the actual percentages of the polls there. 6%. A poll was conducted in Quantum Mechanics Conference of 2011. 6% of participants indicated they believed the observer plays a distinguished role in consciousness collapse. 6%.
That was an interesting guest. He was kind of a little bit unscheduled because he was brought in to do translation, and then wow, that turned into really something. I think okay, we have less than 25 minutes, so we want to bring in Trev here. He's already in, and we want to bring in Sam as well, and hopefully we'll have time for others. Otherwise, we'll have to do the rest next week, next 2 weeks from now, next fortnight. Welcome, Trev. Thank you for joining us.
Hello. Thanks for having me. I want to play devil's advocate for the case for there being a God. I can hold a belief, a worldview in my mind, and withhold disbelief, as I'm sure everyone can. And I like to do that with different scenarios of there being a God. And to be honest, I don't actually think there is a God, but with my small percentage of the possibility of it being a God, it's just maybe around 20% possibility.
We know what devil's advocate is. What is the argument?
Yeah, so I'm just prefixing it with this isn't my full belief. I only believe this is a possibility. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I do actually think it's quite a possibility.
Okay, so what is the argument?
My argument is basically a panpsychist argument. It's almost what that guy was going to say, actually. And I was actually, even though he's kind of awful, that thing that he was saying about can matter be conscious, there are actually some scientists, like there's the neuroscientist Christoph Koch, who talks about integrated information theory, who proposes that consciousness might be an inherent, well, not an inherent, but it might be a property of organized information. Like we might be able to emulate it in a computer someday, for example, if we can, get the neurons to work in the same way as the brain. And as far as we can tell, consciousness is an emergent property of the brain or an emergent quality of the brain. Therefore, you could argue that the lower the level of the consciousess there goes.
You're saying authority you trust believes it, therefore it is the case. Do you have any actual evidence?
No, I do kind of like this guy, Christoph Koch. I did read his book, and it was called Consciousness: Confessions of a Romantic Reductionist. Have you heard of it?
I'm glad you like him. Do you have any actual evidence?
Well,
as I mentioned before,
this is just like my build up to my argument, really, which is kind of a panpsychist. A panpsychist kind of a god, because if you imagine that consciousness could reduce more and more and more to the states of where it's not very organized, maybe there is still a very, very, very low level of inherent consciousness, but maybe my version of a god, what my initial question is could there be a creator god that is not conscious, or maybe a low level of consciousness, not omnipotent, I'm not all the omnis, not omnipresent or not omnipotent or omniscient. And I would argue that by the very fundamental core definition of a god, yes, you can, because if you all of those other qualities aren't necessarily there in all other religions, but the one thing that is there is that he's a creator, and I would argue that the universe scientifically is the biggest thing that created it. It's the thing that created us. And we've got evidence for that. So if you assume that God is a creator, then that's the universe.
I'm still not seeing the evidence. What is your evidence that the universe is conscious? Because is it possible?
Well, I don't need to present that. All I really need to present at the first, it might be a bit of a trick, but all I've really got to say is the universe created us. If you just accept that God is the creator, and then we can say, well, is it conscious?
Oh.
No, but that's not really necessarily. it could just be a low level of consciousness, but still,
I'm saying there's zero.
as far
There's
as we
zero
know,
level
we
of
are
consciousness.
sons of the stars. You know.
So I'm saying there is zero. Consciousness is not fundamental to the universe. It's an emergent property of matter and specifically brains. Therefore, the universe did not create us in that way. We're just a result of natural, unguided processes with no consciousness. What is your evidence that consciousness played a role of any kind, of any level of consciousness at all in our creation?
That's not really the crux of my argument. The crux of my argument is that God, from most religions, is a creator. And if you're going to say, is there what God is, if there's a God, who is it? I would argue that it's the universe, and I would also argue that in many cases it's useful. It's like a useful myth for people to believe, to have almost not just faith in themselves ultimately. Even though you might call it faith in a God, I think poetically that's just a poetic way of saying have faith in themselves and their family.
Totally lost in anything you're saying here. So it seems like you're just saying, I'm going to call the universe God, which is just naturalistic pantheism, which is there's no actual.
Well, panpsychism, pantheism, yeah.
No, panpsychism.
Panpsychism is an alternative to theism. It's not.
I would argue that it might be important for us to have a kind of faith in something more than us, because of the way our brain operates, because on a very basic level, we can set our brains to work on problems like without our conscious effort. So you can actually do this yourself. You can set your subconscious to work on a problem.
Why is that evidence that there is a God? Like
the
saying
solution.
that there's a positive consequence of us having wrong beliefs.
I'm saying there's positive things in having faith in yourself, and I think that's self-evident. Like, sorry.
It's an appeal to consequence. Like I can say there's a positive effect of having a belief in a magical sky daddy called Puffins, but that doesn't mean it's true. Like
it doesn't. But I would say that because you can't argue against there being a very low level of basic version of a creator God that kind of binds us together, because it kind of is a bit depressing. After I became a non-Christian, I did kind of get a bit depressed until I built my own moral system, and I think that part of that is having that kind of, a little bit of faith in kind of a greater something, and maybe that is a good thing.
That's not evidence. That's an appeal to
it's not a good fallacy. It's not good evidence.
Feel good is not evidence. It's true.
Yeah, I know. I'm not even arguing that it is true.
I brought this up with the car accident and prayer analogy.
And by the way, I'm a massive fan of Aaron Ra. By the way, I didn't know you guys spoke with him. But yeah, I think there is still an argument that a faith, because ultimately it's a faith in yourself. I think that, and that's where a lot of atheists do kind of. I think that's a bit of a weak area for atheists, because faith in yourself.
Why would I use
faith in yourself? Ultimately,
why would I use faith when I?
Okay, so it's a bit like The Secret.
No, but Ken, why would I use faith when I can have confidence in myself based upon the evidence of what I can accomplish, my abilities, my knowledge?
Because sometimes blind faith is needed to achieve insurmountable odds.
The thing is, you're not blind when you believe in yourself. So you have past experience. You have significant prior evidence that you are capable of many things, right? So believing that you're capable of things in the future is a reason-justified belief. Even if you don't have exact evidence proving that you can do a specific thing, believing that you're likely to be able to do things in the future makes a lot of sense because you have priors to justify it, right? Yeah, believing in a spiritual apprehension, like the existence of a deity, without any priors that demonstrate it, is completely different kind, which is why if you look in dictionaries, there's two totally different senses of the word, right? So a leap of faith, like doing a thing that's risky, is not the same kind of sense of the word, and it's polysemous, as believing that there is a supernatural being without any evidence of it. And they refer to that as believing because of spiritual apprehension. In other words, just believing because you feel it, because you feel a certain way, right?
So, you did say something about faith is needed for something, for improving the odds or something. I question whether it's actually needed for that. It doesn't seem. I think that
a lot of the time you see that the most successful people in business are risk takers, aren't they? So, in a lot of cases, it did pay off to have kind of a bit of calculated risk, which are against the odds sometimes.
They built confidence in their abilities by prior success, right? So that's completely reasonable.
But my example is
what we call leap of faith, which isn't really faith at all, right? It's just being confident enough in your prior success that you're willing to take more risks in the future.
Now, our time is running short. We have another 15 minutes left. There's one more guest we want to get on. Would that be okay to start moving on to the next person before we close down the show?
Yeah, cool.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, thank you for coming on, Trev. Really appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks. Cheers.
Let's bring on Sam. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
How are you today?
Oh, not too bad. It's kind of busy. Took some time out to come in here.
All right, so you understand the goal of the show. Unfortunately, we only have about 10 to 15 minutes left. So are you presenting to us today, trying to convince us that a god or a goddess exists?
Well, yeah, that's my goal.
Hi, sir. Hi, Cerberus.
Hey, Peter.
You've been identified.
Yeah, my mask has been taken off.
Peter, in future we don't do that here, Peter.
No, that's fine. No, because I this is just my name on here. I don't try to keep it secret or anything.
I think everyone recognizes his voice.
Yeah.
Peter already knows you're okay with it, but let's go ahead and
you know him. You know him from Speech Channel.
Oh, from a lot of different places. Okay, but so I wasn't going to ask this to start with, but I didn't hear anyone else while I was in here ask it, and I think it's an important question. Do any of you have a definition for the word God?
I define God as a non-physical mind that is uncreated, that created everything else.
All right, there we go. Does anyone else?
I don't have a definition because I don't think it would be honest when I'm talking to a theist, and if I have a preconceived definition of God, I could no longer focus on their definition of God. So therefore I always ask the person that I'm talking to what their definition of God is, because that is what we're going to be talking about, not my definition.
Like a polytheist might not actually define their gods as what Tjump just defined God as, because they wouldn't necessarily always have a creator deity that created the universe. There are different versions of theism, so
yeah.
Why do you ask?
Exactly.
Well, I ask because there's an issue that but someone could theoretically show you Yahweh, and if you didn't accept that what Yahweh was a god, you could still be an atheist. Right.
Okay,
Even if they gave you a definition that fit Yahweh, that doesn't mean you have to accept it. And if you don't have a definition, that means you can't be convinced that there is one because it has no meaning to you.
Well, I do have an answer for this one, because
disagree.
Yahweh does have certain characteristics because he's a Christian God. A couple of those characteristics include being omnichronological, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. And so what I put the challenge out to Christians before who've asked me about this is that what would definitely prove it to me is if that God were to grant me omniscience and omnipotence for a period of 2 weeks so that I could experiment and confirm it for myself. That would be one way to prove it. And there should be no problem for a deity with all those different characteristics to grant me just some of them for a short period of time.
Yeah, but my question is more fundamental than that. How do I convince? I could convince you of Yahweh. How do I convince you Yahweh's a god?
It's defined that way in the Bible. That's pretty good. But what we're asking for is to prove that this deity exists.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can prove something exists. There's no. What I'm trying to get at is there's no difference in properties between Yahweh and the god Yahweh.
What?
So I could prove to you Yahweh, but if Yahweh doesn't match what you think a god is, then you're still an atheist.
So I would say that you can define God in any way you want and try to prove he exists, and we will try to accept your definition. So our starting definition isn't required. You can give any definition you want and provide evidence for what you define it as. We just have an idea of what the word typically means in general. So
and we want to make sure
that it fits our definition.
Yeah, we want to make sure it doesn't deviate too far from typical, because if somebody, like Tjump said earlier, God is a coffee cup. Well, we can prove the coffee cup is real, but that doesn't prove it's actually a functional deity, right?
Okay, so I'm trying to think. So if there was something that knew everything that could possibly be known at any given time, was likely eternal. It does actually exist, contains all power that could possibly be. Would you guys consider that a god?
Sure. That you just listed.
It's one of those things we could test for.
Okay, existence.
So you just listed an omnipotent, omniscient, eternal thing. So that would be like pretty much all the properties of God.
Yeah, I'm saying existence has all those things as I said it.
How do you know that existence is eternal?
Well, that's why I said likely. I mean, for it to not be eternal, you would have to say nothing exists.
Why do you think it's likely to be eternal?
Because to say, you would have to say nothing exists in order for it to not exist.
Wait. It seems like he's asking if there was this thing, which we don't know. There's no evidence of this thing that he's presented. He's just saying, if there was this thing, would you accept that as a god? I'd say yes.
I'd say
no. The thing I presented was existence.
Existence isn't conscious. It doesn't know anything.
It has consciousness. Yes.
It doesn't know anything. It has no knowledge.
Are you part of existence?
Yes.
Then it has consciousness. Do you have consciousness?
Composition division fallacy.
Yeah, this is
how is there composition fallacy? You're literally it.
The whole. Say that the whole has a property of the parts, or that the parts have a property of the whole. Is the
but we say you're conscious, but we don't mean your hand has consciousness.
That's
but we
still
say your hand is you.
That's still a composition division fallacy.
So the whole of the thing doesn't need to have consciousness for us to say it has consciousness.
I'm just going to repeat the same thing until you get it.
I'm going to repeat the same thing because it's addressing what you're saying.
Wait 1 second. The universe does not have an individual consciousness. It does not know everything.
I didn't say it has an individual consciousness.
Stop interrupting. Even if we grant every single conscious entity as the universe's mind, it still doesn't know everything, because every single conscious mind doesn't know nearly 1% of anything, so it still wouldn't know everything.
No, as I said, it knows everything that can possibly be known at any given time.
Not all consciousnesses know everything that could possibly be known.
Because if it's not known, it can't be known at that time.
No, it could still be known at that time. It just isn't known at that time.
It can only be known if it's known.
That's false.
It's a tautology.
It's false.
Then you're saying something that isn't knowledge is known.
I could know the number of dust mites in my pocket. I just don't. So it's a thing that I can know.
That's possible. That's possible future knowledge, not possible current knowledge.
It's possible that I could have had this knowledge right now. I just didn't.
Do you generally accept that knowledge is a justified true belief?
Yes.
But put some provision on that if you want.
Yeah.
So if there's no belief, it's not knowledge.
Sure.
Okay. So things that aren't beliefs cannot be knowledge. So future possible knowledge.
Stop.
Cannot be
things
known.
that are not beliefs are not knowledge, but they can be beliefs. They could exist, so they could be knowledge.
Can be, but possibly like if you want to imagine a different universe where something does know that thing, then I'll grant it to you. But I'm talking about this existence.
In this existence, because randomness is a fundamental thing in this universe, not everything is exactly determined as the way it is. Yes, there are possible states of knowledge that we don't have that could have been had.
Maybe logically possible, but not physically possible.
That doesn't even make sense.
In order for something to be knowledge, it needs a belief. There needs to be a belief.
It is physically possible because of quantum mechanics, so it is actually physically possible and logically possible.
No, because it has to be known in a brain for it to be known.
It is physically possible that I could have had separate beliefs than what I have now, given quantum mechanics.
Does knowledge require a mind?
Sure.
Okay, so it has to be in a mind in some fashion for it to be considered knowledge, right?
It has to be a belief.
Yeah, so something outside of that isn't knowledge then, is it?
If it's not a mind.
Yeah, so the only thing at any given point in time that can be physically known has to be in a mind.
No, it has to be possible to be in a mind.
No, that's logically possible. Right? There's no mind containing facts, if you want to say it, that's not in a mind. Right? That makes no sense.
There are things that can be known which are not currently known, and they are still knowledge.
How are they knowledge if they're not in a mind?
Because it's logically possible for them to be in a mind. So they are things which are facts which we just don't know. So propositions can be true whether or not we know them.
And we don't know them because they're not knowledge.
It can be known. That's the point.
Yeah, it can be known, but that doesn't make it knowledge.
All things that could ever be known, not just the things we currently know.
Can be known is not knowledge.
Yes, it is.
No, knowledge is a justified true belief.
No, if you use the term everything that can be known, that includes all propositions.
Yeah,
which
anything
are
that
known
can
and which are not
possibly
known.
be known. The only things that can be known is knowledge.
Oh, I've already explained that's wrong. If you say everything that can be known, that includes all propositions which it's logically possible for a mind to know.
So you know things. Wait, so you know things that are not knowledge.
Oh, again, as I explained this, if you use the term everything that could be known, that means any proposition that could ever be known under any circumstance, any mind logically possibly, is knowledge.
Yeah, I'm not interested in your usage. I'm pointing out that something isn't knowledge unless it's in a mind.
No,
right, so something outside of a mind is it not? Or you just admitted it requires a belief.
You are wrong on this topic. So if you say
you're contradicting yourself.
If you say that there is knowledge, all knowledge that could possibly be known, that means
at any given point,
any proposition that could ever possibly be known by any possible mind. It does not mean is currently known.
But that's what literally the stipulation I made. At any given point in time, what can be known is known.
Can be known means a logical possibility for a mind to have a proposition. That's it. Doesn't mean even if none of the minds do, is it logically possible for a mind to know this proposition?
Again,
yes,
I'm only talking about knowledge. I'm only talking about knowledge. I'm not talking about things.
I know, and you don't understand the topic. If you say knowledge which can be known, that statement refers to all possible propositions which can be held in any logically possible
that's
mind.
not what I'm that's not the usage I'm using.
Okay, guys,
we're saying the sentence wrong.
It's very simple. The only thing that can be known is knowledge. Period. They're like equal. I don't know how you're denying A equals A. It's weird. I don't get it.
I'm not. You're just saying things that make literally no sense. So it seems like you're saying the universe knows all things that are known.
Yeah. Meaning it has all knowledge. It contains all knowledge.
No, those are two contradictory statements. It does not have all knowledge.
It doesn't. Is a key point of knowledge a belief?
A logically possible belief.
I think you can believe.
All knowledge refers to all possible propositions which could ever be known under any circumstance.
No, but that's not on addressing as part of this.
So you don't mean all knowledge.
I'm not talking about what can be knowledge. I'm talking about what is knowledge.
Yeah, so you're not saying all knowledge.
Yeah, I'm only saying that. Well, no, I am. Because say knowledge implies that there's a belief, which implies a mind.
Oh, because all knowledge would include all logically possible knowledge.
All knowledge has to be in a mind, right?
No.
So in order for it to be logically possibly knowledge, it needs to be in a mind.
You're wrong. I've explained you're wrong many times on this. That is not.
Yeah, but your explanation is false. It doesn't. It's not addressing anything.
Philosophy. Just Google modal logic. You don't understand how it works.
I don't think you're understanding me at all.
I do. I understand what you're saying, and you have no idea how it works.
But you're saying there's knowledge outside of a mind, and then you're saying there's knowledge in a mind.
You don't understand how modal logic works. Knowledge can exist in possible worlds. Possible world semantics. There are possible worlds with different cases of knowledge.
I'm not worried about possible worlds. I'm talking about this existence.
I am, because that's what philosophy does. You're ignorant.
Yeah, great, but I'm talking about something that exists.
I understand. You don't understand the topic. You keep using the word all knowledge and don't understand what all knowledge
you understand if I'm talking about what actually exists and you're talking about something other than that, you're not talking about what I'm talking about.
Right. You're contradicting.
Great, then you're off the topic.
Using all knowledge to refer to something that isn't all knowledge.
You are off the topic then. I'm sorry.
No,
that's why you're not understanding this. You're trying to go other places.
Two contradictory statements.
What are two contradictory statements?
All knowledge, referring to just the knowledge we currently have.
That's all knowledge. Yeah.
No, it's not.
It has to be by definition.
An ambiguity fallacy, basic fallacy in philosophy.
No, it's not. It's not ambiguous at all. I can define it literally.
Literally an ambiguity
for something to be knowledge, it has to be a belief. Things mind is required for belief.
So dumb. This is so dumb. This is a dumb semantic argument.
Thank you for coming up.
Since I have experience talking to Cerberus, can I help? Because I think you're You're talking past each other.
Pretty close to the show.
I understood what he was trying to say. It's just stupid. It doesn't follow his argument. So his argument is that the universe has all minds in it, and all minds have all currently known facts. And then he uses this as an ambiguity fallacy to say it has all knowledge, which is not what all knowledge means, in order to imply that the universe has all knowledge, which literally doesn't. So it's a composition division fallacy.
I think what he meant is that knowledge is defined as things we know, and combined knowledge is everything that everyone who has the capability of having knowledge knows.
It's the composition
with all knowledge.
Literally just yes, his point was that he thinks all knowledge equates to all currently known things by minds in the universe, which it does not.
Mm-hmm.
He's using that as a composition division fallacy to say that the universe has all knowledge. So it's an ambiguity fallacy, changing the word all, meaning literally all possible propositions which have knowledge potential, to just the currently things known. And he's using that to try and make a composition division fallacy to say the universe itself has knowledge. So he's using two fallacies, combining them together to make a fallacious argument.
Okay. For clarity, do you think that there is knowledge that is not known?
Yes, it's called propositional knowledge. There are many facts about the universe which we do not know, which are still classified as in the category of knowledge. There are propositions which are true, which can be knowledge. No, the universe does not have all knowledge. Have any knowledge because it has no consciousness.
I think my English is not enough to try and express what I mean.
I understood perfectly what he means. He's just wrong.
I think I'm not saying that either of you is wrong. I'm trying to understand. I know what Serb meant when he said knowledge. I'm still not entirely sure what you mean when you say knowledge. To me, knowledge is hold on. To me, knowledge is something that is known, because that's when it becomes knowledge.
So by knowledge, all knowledge, omniscience, means to know all propositions. There's truth value, truth or false, whether or not we currently know them. So something like, what is the number of stars in Alpha Centauri? We don't know, but it has a truth value. So to have all knowledge, you must know that thing. He was equivocating and using all knowledge to refer to just the facts that we happen to know at the time, which does not include all facts. It would not be all knowledge.
I may have misunderstood, but I thought that when he said all current known knowledge is what he was referring to. So not the facts that are still facts, but we don't know the things we do know. I could be wrong. I'm not.
You are correct.
Sure.
That is what he meant, and he was inaccurately using the phrase "all knowledge" to refer to that. That is not omniscience, which was the whole point. He said, if we say there is a thing which is eternal, always existing, has all power, and knows all things, would that be a god? I said yes.
I agree.
Wait, one sec. He was equivocating that knows all things to simply mean knows the current things that we currently know, which is not knows all things.
Okay, we have to end here, guys. We've run out of time. We have to end the show. This is a fascinating conversation, but we have run out of time, and because we've gone over 6 hours, and we really need to put an end to this, so that in 2 weeks from now, one fortnight from now, we'll be able to do another show, and we could continue this then if you guys like.
When exactly? We
do this every fortnight. That's 2 weeks from now.
I think I can make it. My shows with Arn have skipped a week, so I'm thinking that they now are in the office.
Yeah, we can discuss this off stage. So thank you everybody for tuning in. There's one group I do need to mention is the Recovering from Religion Foundation. I have put a link in the chat. It's recoveringfromreligion.org, and they are currently in fundraiser mode, and if anybody feels like they want to help them, they do tremendous work for helping atheists who have left a religion, and they're very nice about it, and They're very helpful and caring, and it just helps people get on the right track with things if they're having some struggles. So aside from that, a special thank you to the Politics Discord people who run Politics Discord for hosting this here in their Discord. We really appreciate having the audience, and for everybody who's tuned in on YouTube and also here in Discord, thank you so much. We'll be back again in a fortnight from now, 2 weeks from now. My name is Randolph Richardson. I'm with the Canadian Atheists. You can find out more at www.canadianatheists.ca. And everybody else here, you want to just say something about how people can reach you? That'd be great before we close down the stream. IX? JL1.
Well, I at least posted all of their links and pinned them in the Heathen Hangout channel here in this Discord, so make sure you do that. Peter, JL, Tjump, anyone want to jump in?
I'm Tjump, youtube.com/Tjump.
I'm JL, youtube.com/Bridge the Divide.
And I'm Peter the Tucker. You can find me on the Gonna Go For It channel, youtube.com/Gonna Go For It.
My YouTube channel is youtube.com/Randolph Richardson. And remember that Randolph ends with an F, not a PH, no matter what autocorrect tells you. IX, are you there? Okay, IX is obviously away from the computer, but Taco, do you know how people can reach IX?
On a number of Discords all over the place, actually.
Okay.
He's an admin everywhere. If you join a Discord, you will probably find him.
So for those who wanted to get into the show today, we're sorry that we've run out of time. We will hopefully see you next fortnight when we can get more of your perspectives and challenges. Thank you again, everybody. Taco, you want the last word?
Sure. Thank you, everybody, for coming. You guys are all awesome. Audience, thank you for listening. I'm going to close this out now. Y'all have a great day.